All right, so I have a big confession to make. I f***ed up. When my second daughter was born, for lack of better terms, my health went to shit. Through a combination of sleep deprivation, the stress of building my business and my social media presence, and a family health issue that just came out of nowhere, my body went reeling. And despite my best efforts, I gained 23 pounds, mostly in my belly. I was frustrated, but even worse, I felt ashamed because I hated what I looked like in the mirror, and there was a conflict between who I was and what I was representing. So I did what any self-respecting man would do in this situation. I started from the bottom, but this time I would do things differently. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Since then, I've been able to get my body back, and this is quite literally close to the best shape I've been in my entire life. And I'm doing this at 45. So in this video, I want to share with you everything that I've learned from dropping 23 pounds to starting to see my abs again. Now, I just want to preface this by saying I posted this picture, and this is a before and after picture, on social media, and a lot of guys came in and said, hey, I would like to look like the guy on the left. And you know what? That's completely fine. And for me, I have set a standard for how I want my body to look. And that's fine too. You just gotta figure out what your standard is. And for me, it's about being metabolically healthy. And that is around anywhere between 10 to 19% body fat. So whatever standard that you have for your body, these tips will help you, and let's just get into it. So number one, your focus with your workouts when you're trying to lose fat is building muscle. Now, you may not be able to build a ton of muscle when you are losing weight, but it will mitigate a lot of the metabolism damaging effects that losing weight has. And while you're doing these workouts, you want to make sure that you are doing a little bit more in every single workout. So what that means is that we're invoking the philosophy of progressive overload. And when you do this, even when you drop 23 pounds or 30 pounds or even 40 pounds, you will still be able to eat the same amount of food because your metabolism won't be damaged as a result of losing weight. Now, when you're doing these workouts, you want to center your workouts around these particular movements: the squat, the hinge, the lunge, the horizontal press, horizontal pulling, vertical pulling, and overhead pressing, and even carries to a certain degree. And then after you've filled out what I call the big rocks of your workouts, you want to fill them out with accessory exercises. Things like bicep curls, tricep pushdowns, core exercises, lateral raises, calf raises, reverse flies, doing your forearms, doing your anterior tibialis. In a future video, I'm actually going to be dropping the exact workout that I used to drop 23 pounds, and just look out for that. That's coming in the future. Now, next, we want to be using a variety of free weights and machines to carve out our body. Now, you see, I used to be a free weight purist, but I gotta admit that machines are freaking awesome. Now, free weights are great at building strength, but machines are also great at building strength while helping you take an exercise as close to failure as possible without injuring yourself. And the reason it does that is because it dictates the movement that you are using throughout the entire exercise. Now next, you have to realize that your workouts can and will change depending on the amount of time that you have available to you. So as any parent knows, having 2 kids while trying to juggle your career, while trying to keep up social life, and doing all these things, and also keeping up with the hobbies you love, is quite difficult. And sometimes that doesn't leave you a lot of time to do workouts. But that's okay. And I was okay with that because when I had the time, I would spend an hour in the gym, I would do longer rest periods, and I would really focus in on developing strength inside the gym. But when I had half an hour or less in the gym, I would still go to the gym, but I would do things like supersets or myo reps to make sure that I was getting what I needed done. It didn't necessarily push my gains forward, but it helped me keep the muscle that I had just by being consistent in the time that I had for myself. So you have to be okay with being able to modify your workouts based on your time needs, and you have to understand that it's not perfect. These things will change and you have to adapt along with it. Now, the next thing that I wish I could scream from the mountaintops is the fact that you don't need to do cardio in order to lose weight or in order to lose fat. In fact, I find it better to walk. Walking is literally the most underrated exercise on the planet. It helps you relieve stress. It helps you increase brain power. It helps you improve recovery. And it also helps you burn a few calories along with that. And because of all these things, I would choose walking over any type of long distance cardio because of how sustainable it is and how much of an impact it has on my body and brain. Now next, you might be asking yourself, okay, so how many steps do I need to get? And the thing I want to get through to you is the fact that this is a sliding scale. So at minimum, you should be getting at least 6,000 steps per day to feel like a normal human being. Now the next level to that is getting 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day, which helps you feel like a normal human being, but also helps you derive a little bit more of a fat loss benefit. And 15,000 or more steps is where you get all of that stuff while also optimizing for the most amount of calories burned. Now, if I did have a little bit more time on my hands, I would do a specific walking workout that I designed to burn fat. And you can check that out at the link below, completely free. Next, and you're gonna wanna come in a little bit close for this one. So this is the nutrition trifecta. And it goes like so. Use calories in order to lose weight. Use macros in order to improve your physique. And use micronutrients in order to improve both your physical and mental health while helping you mitigate appetite and hunger. And along with all that stuff, something that we want to focus on is getting the most value per calorie. This is much like getting the most value per dollar of the things that you spend. Now, you are deriving the most value when you're eating foods that are high in micronutrient value, great macros, great calories, and also have a good amount of fiber. And preferably it should be yummy too. And you want to be getting the least amount of calories from sources like, let's just say alcohol, where you're pretty much taking in almost empty calories that do nothing for your body and actually cause some legitimate harm. Now, you have to understand that a calorie is a calorie, but not all foods were created equal. So you want to get the best bang for your buck by choosing the right foods. And I also have an article that I did on that you can check out below. Now, this next one was a low-key hack for both building muscle, burning fat, and also keeping my metabolism healthy. So I gave myself a range of anywhere between 0.8 to 1.25 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And the reason I gave myself this range is because at worst, I want to hit the bare minimum amount of calories I need to maintain my muscle. And something that we're starting to realize right now is that we can actually gain muscle when we're in a calorie deficit. And one of the ways to do this is by amplifying the amount of protein you're taking in. So that's why aiming for even 1.25 grams, if you can actually add that to your diet, is going to be optimal for possibly gaining muscle while you are dieting. Now, when you are kind of like filling out your meals and you're figuring out, okay, cool, like how can I get this amount of protein with the amount of calories that I have allotted for me? You want to focus on something that's called the protein to calorie ratio. And this just means choosing foods that have a higher amount of protein compared to the amount of calories you're taking in. So an example of this would be chicken breast, where 100 grams of chicken breast is around 173 calories, but it also gives you about 30.9 grams of protein per 100 grams. That's pretty good. An example of a shitty source of protein would be peanut butter, where 100 grams is 589 calories. And yes, it's giving you 24.1 grams of protein, but that's 589 calories. And to close off this protein bit, I want to leave you with the next tip, which is just a basic education of learning how to eat more protein. Now, I have a video up here that you can check out that's going to teach you everything that you need to know about how to eat more protein. And the reason why I'm harping on this so much is because protein, especially when it comes to losing fat and building muscle, it's the most important macronutrient that you have to focus on. So if you do struggle with this, get yourself educated, go to that video, and you'll be able to check out why. Now, this next tip is going to piss off a lot of people who are big fans of intermittent fasting. Okay, let's just say it anyways. Eating breakfast within an hour of waking is better than skipping breakfast and pushing it off until 12 p.m. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The simple habit of eating a nutrient-dense, high-protein meal, especially in the morning, was a game changer for me. I used to be the intermittent fasting nut, pushing out my breakfast 4 hours until I woke and making sure that I ate it at 12 and abided by the whole 12-4-8 principle. And something that I realized, especially when doing this diet for a significantly long period of time, is that not eating, especially in the morning, is a stress. And then you may not feel the stress in the morning, but that stress does come back. And something that I found with working with tens of thousands of clients is the fact that if you do this, you will most likely exasperate hunger at the end of the day. And there are gonna be some people that come here and say, well, intermittent fasting works for me. And a lot of times people say that to me. I'm like, cool, well, Susan, why are you trying to lose the same 20 pounds 3 times over? Something must be wrong.
Man, this is some bullshit!
And it's not that I don't fast. It's only that I do it the opposite way. I have an early breakfast and an early dinner, and then my fasting period starts around 5 or 6, and it goes until probably about 7 or 8 until the next morning when I break it. The downstream consequences of eating breakfast as opposed to skipping it have led to regulating my energy, regulating my appetite, and hunger throughout the entire day. I'm probably gonna do an entire video on this, so just stay tuned for that. Now, the next one is gonna be super important because you have to track your weight on a regular basis, even when it hurts. Here's why. There were times when I had a social event or I had a sequence of days where I was eating outside of what I would normally eat. And a lot of times I would be scared to step on the scale because I'd be like, oh shit, I don't wanna see this number pop out and it's gonna make me feel bad and but I stepped on it anyways because I needed to keep myself honest. And there's gonna be a lot of people that say, hey, every time I step on a scale, it just like with my mind. But here's the thing, it's not the scale, it's actually your relationship to the scale. It's actually your mind and your perception of it. It has nothing to do with the external. It has everything to do with the internal. And also, when you do this enough times, when you step on the scale, especially on the days you don't want to, you realize that a lot of times when you go outside of the diet and your weight jumps up, it usually jumps up anywhere between even 2 to sometimes like 5 pounds. And then you realize, because you've been stepping on the scale, that weight goes away after about 2 to 5 days. Because that weight was not fat. It was just water, it was just glycogen, and maybe it was like a little bit of fat. And again, all that shit goes away after about 2 to 4 days of just getting back on the horse. And by the way, if you're watching this, please subscribe to this channel. Every single week, I'm gonna be coming out with new videos showing you how to be lean, how to be energetic, and how to be your fittest self this year. So subscribe, let's get back to the video. Now next, before even trying any of the stuff that I just talked about or applying any of it to your life, you need a goal, you need a plan, and you need traits. So first up, you need a measurable goal. It's just not enough to say, oh, I just want to lose weight and look lean. Your mind doesn't really work like that. Your mind works based off of specifics. Give it a specific target, a measurable target. That's number one. Then number 2 is to devise a plan in which to reach it. Now, I know that this shit is stuff that you already know, but I have to say it because a lot of times people are like, all right, I want to lose weight. They start going to the gym, they start following some sort of diet, whatever it is, and then they just realize that they just went in without a plan. It's bonkers to me. But anyways, now this next part is most important. You need traits. What are the behaviors of the person that you are becoming as a result of achieving this goal? Like, don't be relaxed with this stuff. Be intentional. And then from there, you will have a baseline understanding of what it takes to not only get to the goal, but also to keep it in your life. All right, so we got our goal, we got a plan, we got our traits. Now we have to set up our GPS system. You need things to track. This is what keeps you on the path towards your goals. And it also tells you when you're off of the path as well. So here are a few things to track. Level 1 is just tracking your weight 3 to 7 days per week and getting an average of those numbers. It's measuring out your inches every single week. It's taking pictures every 4 weeks. That's level 1. Level 2 is optional but highly recommended. You want to get your blood work done, and you want to do this at least every 4 to 6 months. And I also recommend getting a DEXA scan done. It's one of the most accurate ways to track your body fat and also your visceral fat, and also to show you where this fat lies in your body. And level 3 is completely optional, but it's going deeper and getting things like calcium scores for your heart, or MRIs to scan for cancers. But what you measure is what you manage, and a lot of times we just want to get ahead of these things before they become bigger problems. Now, the next thing that I've learned is that you have to ask yourself, what exactly am I optimizing for? Are you trying to lose weight as fast as humanly possible? Are you trying to undo multiple years of just gluttony in the span of 6 to 12 weeks? Or are you trying to do it in the most sustainable way possible? For me, I didn't care about speed. I didn't care about how fast I was gonna get my body back. I only cared about direction. And as long as you are trending in the right direction, you're in a pretty good spot. And if you really want to do this in a sustainable way, you want to do the next tip, which is to give yourself permission to make mistakes. When it came to getting myself back to where I needed to be, I made a ton of mistakes. And making mistakes is a part of this game, especially if you want to make it sustainable. And even with our body transformation clients, we encourage them to make mistakes. We encourage them to be imperfect, because consistency is not just like straight line where you're hitting every single day and every single day is marked off, I crushed it, whatever. Consistency is more so like a squiggly line where you're making a lot of mistakes, where you miss a meal, where you miss a workout, and you're developing the muscle of just getting back onto it. Which leads me to the next point. I had this mantra when I was going through this entire process, and I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh yeah, how long did this take, whatever. It took like a year for this, and there's a very specific reason why. I had a mantra where I just said, as long as it takes. And this means that you're willing to give yourself time to figure things out. This puts the long view inside of your mind and forgoes any type of idea to try to speed things up. Remember, the most important thing is direction, not speed. And also, this is what made the process super fun for me. So as I was losing weight and as I was giving myself this time, I was having fun with it. I was eating cookies. I was eating ice cream. I was doing social events. I was even having a drink or two. And did these things set me back? Oh yeah, they did. But that's okay, because when you learn about the process of body transformation and you understand that you don't have to be perfect in order to get to a fit body, that's freedom, baby. That is ultimate freedom. Now, the second last thing that I want to get through to you is this. Avoiding bad advice is way more important than getting good advice. So when you go on social media, you're gonna have a bunch of people telling you to go carnivore. You're gonna have a bunch of people telling you to go keto. You're gonna have a bunch of people telling you to go plant-based. You're gonna have a bunch of people telling you to avoid vegetables because of oxalates and some other shit like that. And you have others that just wanna make you scared of seed oils and fruit. Now, the truth is this may have a dose of truth for them, but you must adopt what is yours. That's the most important thing. As Bruce Lee says, adopt what's useful and avoid what's useless. And context is so important when it comes to transforming your body. The context for even me may not be the context for you. And that's something only an intelligent person can find out for themselves. And if you're still watching this video right now, I'm just gonna consider you to be highly intelligent and also a little sexy, or a lot sexy. Now I said second last, but this is actually the second last one right here. Don't try to fix your lifestyle, fix your environment. This goes from the foods that you keep inside of your kitchen to the friends that you keep around in your circle. You want your environment to be set up in a way that makes body transformation as conducive as possible to getting in shape. Environment is the invisible hand that dictates the decisions that you make with your body. So one of the first steps to getting in shape is just by fixing your environment. It makes getting in shape so smooth. And the last part is just to get help. Seriously, if you've been struggling with this for a while, it's okay to ask for help. Even for myself, I hired my friend Berg to keep me accountable. And there's nothing wrong with getting coaching in the area of your life that you feel weak in. And my whole philosophy is that investing in yourself is going to create crazy returns in your life. So if you've been dealing with this for a long time, get help. Now, I'm not done by a long shot. I have momentum on my side. And that's what happens when you're having fun and getting in shape at the same time. So I'm still continuing on my journey. I'm in great shape right now, but I'm still going to get myself down to 10% body fat. And then I'll be on to phase 2, where I will be recomping my body and adding more muscle to my frame. And along the way, I'm optimizing my biomarkers for longevity and performance. So I hope you got a lot of fun out of this video, as I have had fun making it, and I just hope that it helped you become a little bit healthier and pushed you along the way in a good way. So see you on the next one. Have fun. Peace.